welcome to another edition of the Heavy Duty Hub podcast. As always, I'm Jeremy,
And I'm Chris.
and today we have a special guest with us. We got Mr. Keith Ely with KEA Advisors, and we're going to be interviewing Keith. Before we start, though, I just wanted to give Keith a little background. So back in 2017, I'd known Keith for a while before then, but in 2017, I had the privilege of going to the ATD Dealer Academy, which is part of the NADA. And it's a 6-week course at that time, and Keith was the lead instructor. And after the first week of that course, I got home and I told my wife, I said, this is what I want to do. I want to do what Keith does. Keith is teaching, he is instructing. It's something I'm very passionate about, something that I've always wanted to do. And when I went through that academy with Keith taking the lead, it really changed my outlook and my career and my decision on what I wanted to do and who I wanted to be. So, Keith, I didn't know if you knew that before, but I wanted you to know that you were
I did
instrumental
not.
in me taking this road. So, with that in mind, the first question I wanted to ask you is, with your history of being with the academy, being with key advisors, doing what you do with the dealerships that you do and the personnel you deal with, do you ever stop and think about how many different individuals you've affected over the years?
The short answer would be no, but I'm going to add a but to that. So, no, but it's been interesting. It's been interesting over the last probably 3 or 4 years. And maybe it's just due to age, but I have, and probably I guess Jeremy, it started with when we decided at the end of 2019 to stop our teaching relationship with ATD, and there was it was a well thought out decision that we made, and when I say we, both KEA and ATD, that we made, and that's one that um, one that I think has been good for both parties, and I think that I think ATD is still doing well with the academy, and it's a really good program. And it's enabled us to do some things that we couldn't do before. Um, but I think because of when we stopped that, and we've been doing the academy, building content, and delivering that content since November of 1996. So what is that, essentially 24 years that we had done that. And, you know, I think over the course of those 24 years, I'm going to guess that was somewhere around 40 to 45 different classes that I had the chance to teach. And if you think that each class probably had 20 or 25 people in it, that's over 1,000 people. And that's not 1,000 dealerships, but 1,000 people. And what's interesting is to get emails or texts, or, get a text with an area code 540, which is Virginia. Hey, Keith, how you doing? And it's like, I have no idea who this is, but I'll ask. So it's it's Brenda from Academy Class 42. Oh, okay, well, I remember you. Or what's even worse is when I don't remember the person, but they remember me. And I think it's kind of hit me that between the academy classes and between what we do here, that I've been I've had the chance to be exposed to a lot of people and a lot of dealerships, and the privilege to have that exposure. And I think one of the things that really hit me now, even more than that, in terms of the number of people, is as we move forward with the transaction with Decisive, um, the number of people that have said, wow, not just Keith, but more importantly, KEA Advisors, the reputation that we as a team have established in the industry for really doing really good work, impactful work, and doing what we say we're going to do. I'm sure we've messed up many times. I know we have. But I think one of the things that has made us who we are is that all of us are willing to say, you know what, I screwed that one up. Let me go make it right, and here's what we'll do more than just make that one thing right. We'll own that and really lean into that and 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 uh, and really go overboard to help our customers. And that's not a key thing. That's a key thing. It's a culture that we've built, and one of the things that I'm not as good at as I should be, but the Extreme Ownership book by Jocko Willink has been kind of basis for how I lead, and we've tried to push some of that down. And I think everybody for us that works with us engages in that type of thought that, you know what, we own this. About the dealership people when they don't do things, it's their fault. It's what do we do that we've not led well enough and owned that well enough to cause them to change behavior. And again, I don't think we do that very often where that doesn't happen, where behaviors don't change. It's always a fight to change behavior. We all know that. But I think I think the fact that all of us practice owning the thing and driving the thing and engaging with the principle of the dealership, I think has really created us a good reputation. And I never knew we had that reputation and until really the last probably 2 or 3 months. I mean, I'll get snippets of that, but I think that's kind of come out of the woodwork a little bit more. And so, Jeremy, that's a long answer to your question, but I don't think I've ever really thought about it until we ended the relationship with ATD. It really made me think about the number of people we've impacted. And then as we've moved forward with the decisive transaction, um, the comments that we get about the reputation that we've built. And again, that's a we thing, that's not a me thing. So, but thanks for the question.
Well, so in that genre, Keith, when we think about it, why do you do what you do? What drove you to go this path?
So you realize that you told me this is 22 to 25 minutes, right? Something like that, 22 to. So,
The
so I'll
last
give
question
you,
answer was 9 minutes, just so you know.
I know. So I'm gonna give you the short version. Right. So the short version is that I had been in the dealership industry ever since I was a kid. My dad was a GMC truck dealer when GMC was focused on heavy duty, not light duty. So that'll tell you how long ago that was. And I worked in the industry until 1995. And my dad had sold his business, and there was other career stops along the way for me. And in 1995, that I was a CFO and also the GM of the truck side of a car and truck dealership group. And the dealership or the dealer called me to his office one day and said, "Hey, just so you know, um, the whole management company is going to be terminated effective now at 9:15 in the morning." And there was reasons for it. It wasn't because the dealerships weren't successful. It was a personal thing for him and his wife, and you can imagine what that might have been. But I thought I was really great because I negotiated 2 month or 2 weeks severance pay for myself, and and everybody else inside the management company. But the short answer is, Chris, I needed a job, and I thought I was pretty decent at what I was doing at that time, which was um, running a business, and I was pretty decent as a CFO, and so I started doing this, and um, I had some consulting gigs, and then the director of the academy, who I'd met through a mutual friend of ours, called me and said, would you like to teach the class?" And he and I had talked probably 4 years earlier, and I was going to have to move to Washington, D.C. And this time he said, "You won't have to move to Washington, D.C." And I jumped on that. And the company has taken different iterations over since 1996. It sold once to what is now Fortellis. At the time was Dixon Odom, and that was a great thing for me and for the company. But it's really taken its current form since 2005. And you know, I don't remember what your question was, Chris, but the answer is I needed a job and I enjoyed it, and we've just been fortunate enough to be able to build a good company because we've got a good team.
So throughout your career, Keith, I know for me, and I've talked about it on this podcast before, there's a couple real true mentors that I've had throughout my career that have really formed how my career has gone and what I've done. What's one or two of those names you can throw out there who have been a true mentor to you, help you along in your career, or maybe even, when you had that moment of doubt, pushed you to keep going?
Oh gosh. So my first mentor would be my father. Um, I just jumped off of a call with one of our clients, and he was talking about how in a family business, he's not family in this business that he's with, but how he always respected the kids that started from the ground up, that didn't start as a GM or something like that. And I started picking up trash and mowing grass and sweeping floors and all that stuff when we were probably 5 or 6. And that was way against child labor laws even that many years ago, right? But that's what we did. And I learned how to read a financial statement, probably more because I'm a math geek than anything, but it was a math problem to me to take a financial statement when I was 14 or 15 and start to go through and calculate different things and understand how the financial statement interacted with between departments and between other pieces that weren't on the financial statement. So I'd say number one would be my dad, and he's the one that pushed always 60 years ago about, hey, absorption is the most important thing. I think the second one that I would say as a mentor would be Woody Miller. Woody was the director of the academy when we started. Woody was a tough guy. He was an ex-Marine, not an ex-Marine. He was a retired Marine. You're never an ex-Marine. And he was tough. And he pushed on how to build content, how to deliver good content, and how to make those classes good. And I remember the first class I did, and it was awful. I'm sure it was just terrible, but he let me come back and do another one. I would say the third one would be Laird Noller. Laird was a boss of mine, and he was a tough dude. He was very, very fair. Um, he was old school. He didn't pussyfoot around about confronting you. He was in your face, but it was okay. And he was I really enjoyed working with him, and I miss him. And I'd say those three. There's a lot of people today that we work with, customers, vendors, that I think are mentors to me in some way or another. I think there's mentors that are on our team. Um, to me that, that still mentor me, not all the time, and not do I look for them for any certain thing, but, I mean, the two of you mentor me in parts things that I don't understand, and I consider myself pretty well versed in parts, and I still look to the two of you to give me guidance on things that I don't know. So, yeah, I think even today for me, there's a lot of mentorship that goes on. It's just in a different form.
Gotcha. So Keith, I know you had mentioned earlier, with the key decisive merger coming together, we're pretty excited about that. It's going to lead us down new paths that we haven't been down before. So just kind of sum it up in your own words. What's your outlook for the next couple years for the key and decisive merger? Because, like I said, we're all excited about it and we're looking forward to it.
Yeah, I think from my standpoint, I'm very excited about it. One of the had a call yesterday morning from a guy that we've done business with for a long time, and I haven't talked to him for probably 6 months. And he said, "I thought you'd be on a beach by now." And I said, "Well, no, that's number one. Number one, the deal is not quite closed yet. We're getting really close to that. We've got the legal stuff pretty much done." And I said it would be a pretty small beach for me to be on because beaches are pretty darn expensive to buy. Uh, um, but I think I'm more than anything. What I told him is I don't want to leave this. I'm really excited about the possibilities of what we as a combined company can do. I mean, Decisive has a has, of course, the current platform that they use for service. But I think there's a lot of things to how do we make that platform better? How do we support that service platform? But how do we use technology also as a company to help us support our other departments and the entire dealership and things like that? And so, for me, there's a level of excitement that I really am excited to what can we figure out together to make things that help our customers, our dealers operate their business better. And I think to me that's the exciting thing. I think it opens up a tremendous amount of opportunity in terms of for Key um, to continue to grow our business. Um, I think that from a combining of our Pulse platform with decisive data and other database data, I think that it's just pretty much an endless possibility of things to bring to the table. So, what you talked earlier, Jeremy, about um, reflecting on a career. And when I first thought about what I wanted to do, when I said, quote, "I needed a job," end quote, one of the things I thought was pretty cool was how could you how could you design technology that would make really make a dealership better? And I think we all know that it's needed, but technology is only as good as your ability to use it and to support how you do work. And if we can take steps out and make it more efficient, more controlled, and I think this again, kind of full circle for me. How do we take the technology aspects of what we're going to be able to have access to and apply it to our customers' business, to this industry's business, and make those dealerships better? And I've always really liked to think that our customers that use us have a competitive advantage over those that don't. And I think we see that in results that, that they get. And that's what excites me maybe the most is how can we take this joining of Decisive and Key, and how does that make it even more of a competitive advantage for our customers? And I think it will. So I'm excited about where this goes.
I've been telling our customers, they keep asking me, the one question they always ask, how do you feel about it? And my response has been, in my opinion, Decisive is bringing Key the technology that we've wanted and needed. And we're
Yep,
bringing decisive, the boots on the ground knowledge of how to run a dealership. So
yep,
it's a perfect fit in my mind, the two of us together, and that's how I've been describing it.
Even more so, Jeremy,
yep, I would
too.
agree with,
Yeah. Well, it's also almost all of us that work at KEA Advisors worked in dealerships.
yeah,
So taking that tribal knowledge as well now for Decisive to really help them enhance their offering and what they can do for those dealers, it just is a win-win. I laugh at this too, Keith, because, and Jeremy, I'll say, sometimes you got to take your own medicine, right? We go
right,
into dealerships and we talk about being unafraid of change and embracing this thing, and now it's staring us all in the face too, and it's like who wants to be boring? It's a new
yeah,
challenge. The older I get, let's do more. Let's challenge
exactly.
ourselves even more. So
But
it's scary, but it's fun too, all at the same time.
yeah, I heard this morning, Chris, on the news, they were talking about, and I don't remember who it was, but it was basically how do you keep your your brain from atrophying, right? So, you keep your muscles from atrophying by using them by pushing weight or whatever you're doing. But the biggest thing they talked about, besides the basics of exercise, eating right, sleeping, those things, is doing new things, doing hard things, right? And that keeps your brain building. And so I think this is going to be tough. I mean, for me, it's going to be tough. I've not had a boss other than my wife for 35 years. So, I want to have a boss. And I think it's a good thing.
Well,
I'm
I did tell you,
I'm
Keith,
really
I will
excited.
help you with your expenses. I'll help you fill those out. I'm
I
volunteering.
appreciate that. I'm going to have to learn how to use the expense reporting app. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Well, Keith, we thank you very much for coming on. We thank you for being,
Absolutely.
a great
Hey,
interview, and we
can,
hope
can
that.
I ask you guys? Can I ask you
Oh,
guys a question?
absolutely.
Yeah, sure.
So you asked me about about I guess a little career reflection. Um, I get comments from our customers, as I said, about our reputation, that it's a really, really good reputation. How do you guys approach engaging with customers and Chris, you talked about change, right? I mean, how do you engage with a dealership, a parts department, a service department where change, again, change is not just saying the change is a financial statement. That's that doesn't happen without changing people's behaviors. How do you go about changing people's behaviors that lead to a successful performance improvement
So,
for a business?
so Keith, you've just now made this like a 3 hour long podcast.
That's
I know.
okay.
And that's
We can
okay.
cut it into different parts.
There you go. There you go. But for me, for me personally, it's really about getting to know who you're working with and who you're dealing with. Because once you know them, once you know their personality, and we do a lot of things, personality tests and whatnot to try and figure out who we're dealing with.
Mm,
But every client's different. I've got one client right now where there's a couple guys in the class where all you have to do is kind of just tweak their pride a little bit. Kind of make a little
okay.
comment here or there about, well, hey, your partner's doing better than you are this month, and then next month, boom, they're doing better. There's other people that you have to push a little harder, and there's some people that, quite frankly, you got to get nasty with sometimes. You've got to tell them, hey, this is what's expected. This is what's achievable. The only reason you're not achieving it is because you're not doing what we're asking. What we're doing isn't, and this is something I always lead out with when we do a class. It's not, you know, my ideas, it's not Chris's ideas, it's not Keith's ideas. These are tried and true, proven practices to make a dealership better. If you think we can come up with a better way, I'm all ears because that's what I'm striving for. I'm looking for the best, most efficient way of doing something to make myself better, to make you better, to make your dealership better. So as of now, these are the things that we found that are tried and true. You've heard me say it a million times: facts, math, and logic. No emotion, facts, math, and logic, what drives results. These are what drives results. Well, you don't understand. Our dealership is different. No, it's not. We deal with 700 dealers across North America. You're, it is not different. You have the same problems every other dealership has. So for me, it's about getting to know the client, getting to know the individuals in the room, and then figuring out what buttons trigger them.
Trigger or push?
Either way.
For me, and I agree with everything you say, Jeremy, but I'm a huge believer in psychology comes to play. And the example I will give is a customer I was with in the last couple weeks. I'm rolling out some training for their counter staffs. And you have just across the spectrum, new, you know, 3 months, 2 years, and then you have 30 years. So how I handle the brand new is very different than a 30-year guy. You have to feed that ego a little bit and make them feel like, hey, I'm counting on you for your expertise to help guide, when the reality of this is that I really don't need your help, but we're gonna play that game. But sometimes you need tough love too. There are times where dealers just fight you on every little thing, and sometimes you just got to sit them down and lay it out. And I always love when you get the challenge in a group, sometimes, not always, but where someone will say, you don't understand our business. You don't understand what drives here in this country. We go into Canada a lot, right? The funny thing is, to Jeremy's point, you're not that special.
Right.
Selling a part in Zimbabwe is the same as selling a part here. The process of how it works is no different. Now, how you go about it might be a little bit, taxes, etc. But when you really drive and just push the buttons, as I said to Jeremy, you really have to find out. Sometimes you got to make them mad to make them understand. It's great when they sit there, shake their head, and they agree and just do it. That's great. It just doesn't always work that way. So you just have to really show them and say, hey, if your way works, why am I standing in front of you today? So just along those lines, that's kind of how it is.
Jeremy, you used the term logic, like the facts, math, and logic thing, right? And I don't remember what it was yesterday I was listening to, but I laughed. I mean, I laughed a lot out loud. I was sitting by myself, so luckily I don't think anybody heard me. But it was either sports related, or it was something to do with defense, not related to the Iran conflict, but the comment that the guy made, and I think it was sports related. They're talking about, I think, yeah, I'm pretty sure it was. They're talking about people and getting better people in to the organization. And the comment was something along the lines of, well, you've had that person for a long time. Doesn't it make you upset that you're going to change that person, or you're asking them to do something different and better? And he was not wanting to terminate people. That's not what he was going for at all. But his comment was, once you let emotion in the room, logic exits the room.
Yeah.
And I thought, wow, what an unbelievably strong statement, right? But there's truth. There's a whole lot of truth in that. It's not that you shouldn't let some emotion play into it, right? In terms of empathy and that type of thing. But if we truly believe we're doing what's right, then there's a set of facts and logic that you've got to work through to say, yeah, I have empathy for this person, but the best thing to do for that person is not to let them do that job anymore.
Right.
There's a better place for them somewhere else.
Yep.
So, and that's tough. We all know that's
Awesome.
tough.
Well, it's hard to believe, Keith. We'll definitely have to have you back on. We're up against it as always. It goes so fast. We could go on for hours,
We
but
could.
we'll cut it off here, and hopefully we'll have you back here sooner than later to share some more insights on what makes you you and KEA Advisors. KEA Advisors.
Sounds good. Sounds good. Thanks, Chris. Thanks, Jeremy.
Yeah.
You got it. And as always, Chris is going to give you all the buttons to like and subscribe, and Chris will sign us off. But thank you for tuning in to another edition of the Heavy Duty Hub podcast, and we look forward to seeing you next time.
Sounds good.
Just to echo Jeremy, like, subscribe, and sign up for notifications. And please shoot us an email. Let us know what matters to you most in your dealership life and environment. We're here to help. We love this. We are so passionate about this thing that we do, but we only do it with you all along for the ride. So thanks again for watching, and like, subscribe, and we'll talk to you again and see you on the next one. Thanks, everybody.